And welcome to another edition of Quoth the Raven. This is the Christmas Holiday Swag Edition 2019. I am your host, Louis Bright Raven. Here I am, wearing yet another Star Wars shirt like I wore last week, which was one of my gifts. And this is another one. I've got more to show of those. And before we get to the all the showing off of stuff I got, let's go answer some questions, shall we? The questions begin with Merry Christmas, BR. If you could have a Christmas wish for the comics industry in 2020 and have it come true, what would it be and why? And that's from Anonymous. Wow. that's a doozy of a question there, Anonymous. I guess what I'd like to see, a Christmas wish for entire industry and the hobby would be to have, I don't know, have everyone open their eyes and wake up. Um, have it so we don't just have a diamond monopoly for distribution, and have retailers that understand that you got to support more than just the diamond slash big two, um, big two superhero and big two or um, licensed content from television or film type stuff, characters, books, and understand that when you're doing a comics industry, it has to be more than that, and that we all of us open our eyes and support that more so and get stuff into comic shops and into other venues so that the general population can see it and hopefully support it. So that would be my Christmas wish for the industry in 2020. Okay. Our next question is also from Anonymous. Is, do you think that 2020 will see an improvement in the comics market or downward trends? Truth be told, I really don't know. Um, Probably a little bit of both. I think we'll see some good things and we'll see some bad things. I think the mainstream comics media, such as it is, will probably play more towards downtrending things and making things seem uglier than it is, and not do a whole lot of positive spin on the things that are going on that are good. And that'll make things look bad for everybody. But I hope that this show in 2020 and other people out there who are doing podcasts will rally against that and try to provide quality uh, reviews and news about what's out there that's worth everybody supporting and checking out, instead of you know the usual oh, this book's by us SJW, or that's wrong, or this is wrong, that's wrong. No, let's find the stuff that we do like and promote that instead. If we can do that, then we won't have the downtrending. I don't think. I think if we put a more positive outlook on what is we're covering and why we're covering it, it'll be a better year next year. Next question. Let's see. Where's it at? There we go. Smarty Marty asks, how many people actually watch your show? Doesn't seem like you have much of a following. Well, the truth is, I don't really follow my logistics on my YouTube channel all that much. I seem to get around 20 to 30 viewers a week on an episode. Some of them have as high as many as 60, 70. It just depends on what the episode is, who I've got as a guest, type sort of thing. But no biggie to me, one way or the other. I mean, I'm not, I don't know what it is you are trying to ask me, Marty. um, if you're thinking I'm trying to compete with some of the fools out there that are trying to use their YouTube to promote their Kickstarters and their Indiegogo books, that's not what I'm about. And also, I'm not one that comes on a daily basis to poke fun or make light or whatever, complain about all the junk that's going on a daily basis in the comics industry, like your boy Zach or Ethan Van Sciver or some of the other guys out there. And, if that's what it takes to make you popular enough to be watched a lot, then okay, whatever. That's just people who want to watch somebody complain, bitch, and be an asshole, as far as I'm concerned. So that's not who I am. That's not what I'm about. So that's not what we're going to do here. If that means people don't watch as much as they watch others, that's fine. Next question is from Debbie in Michigan. When are you going to start doing your own properties again? Next year, sometime. I'm not exactly sure on an official schedule yet. I don't want to even put out a tentative schedule right now. I'm hoping to get something out at least starting end of first quarter, beginning of second quarter, maybe at the earliest, and then maybe summer, if at the latest. We'll see. I don't want to commit to anything right now because I want to make sure I got the funds to pay who I need to pay to make sure the book's produced properly and stuff. So when the money's there and I know it's there, then we'll go. Okay. Next question. It's from my friend Mike in Michigan, and he's asking me, "Are you ever going to read the story I sent to you?" Oh, Mike. Yeah. Mike sent me something in an email that I was supposed to review for him a while back, quite a while back, unfortunately, and I haven't gotten to it yet. Yes, I will get to that. I'll try to get to you before the end of the year. Okay, Mike. I apologize for the delay. Yeah, that's on me. That's totally my fault. My bad. And I will fix that. Okay, Mike. I am now on live, so you have my. I can't back out now. I gotta do what I said. So, all right. Next question. If we have a question. Kyle P asks, have you seen Rise of Skywalker Rise of Skywalker yet? You said last week you were going to wait a bit. Nope, haven't seen it yet. I'm tentatively scheduled to see it on Sunday, this Sunday upcoming. We haven't scheduled a time, but I'm going with my friend John Norris, and he doesn't know exactly when he'll be available yet. So we'll work something out when he gets back from out of town. He's visiting his family. So once that's over with, then we'll go from there. And probably Sunday afternoon or something, but we'll see. And I think that is the last question. So if you have a question, you can email them to quothravenlbr72@gmail.com. Subject QTR questions. Please indicate whether you want your name and locale read on air. And again, that is quothravenlbr72@gmail.com. Now, as I showed you a little bit before, I'm wearing the Star Wars shirt here. Let me hide that little email thing again. This is a simple, standalone, old school poster from the 70s. Done a nice denim shirt. Last week's shirts, last week on this show, I wore this shirt. And then at the Star Wars Rise of Skywalker event at the theater, when I was selling artwork and doing other things, I wore the periodic table of Star Wars villains shirt, which is a really cool shirt. It's got, get a little bit closer so you can read it. The red are the Imperials, droids, or orange creatures, aliens and bounty hunters. The white ships are at the bottom. As you can see, the TIE fighters and the Imperial shuttle and the two Death Stars and Slave One, other vehicles. So those were the shirts I wore last week, and I'm wearing this shirt right now. And I had two more shirts that I got for Christmas. And they are the Millennium Falcon and just a regular, just the logo. And that's probably what I'll wear to the Rise of Skywalker show Sunday. Is probably the one with just the logo on it. But that'll be my Star Wars wardrobe from here on out. My dad got a little bit overboard with that. I mentioned I needed them partly for last week's episodes and for the event, but I didn't know he was going to get me 5 shirts. That was a bit much. So that's part of what I got for holiday swag. Let's see what else I got. Well, I got a lot of comics. Sorry, I'm just moving things around on my keyboard and monitors. In fact, I got a whole box load here from Diamond that is full of big books. So we're going to go through those pretty quickly here, but we're going to start with Batman and the Outsiders, volumes 2 and 3. I already had volume 1, and we're going to do a little bit of review on them real quick. Both editions were written by Mike W. Barr. They are priced at $50 each, $49.99 each. I didn't get them for those kind of prices. I got much discounted on them. I think I spent maybe $25 for both. But the cover price is $49.99. The artists, as you can see from the covers, they list Joe Aparo and Alan Davis, and they are some of the artists in the book, but there's a bunch of other ones. Bill Willingham, Jerome K. Moore, Alex Saviuk, Jan Dursimo, Rick Hoberg, Bill Anderson, Trevor Von Eden, Ron Randall, Irv Novick, Dave Hunt, David Ross, and Dan Adkins all contributed in the artwork on these two products. The genre is superhero. So let's go there real quick. Now, I haven't had a chance to really read these, but I think everybody knows who Batman is and what Batman's about. So I hope you are if you're watching a comics related podcast. In the first volume, the character that's glowing, Halo, is kind of a memory loss, doesn't know who her family is, right thing. And in the second volume, they're introducing who appear to be her parents. And the character behind Halo over there we go, is Katana, which some of you may know from the Batman animated shows, or maybe from the Suicide Squad. I think Katana was in Suicide Squad. I can't remember from the film or not, but it's that character. And I really haven't had a chance to look at these yet. I just got them I want to say last Wednesday. So, I literally just brought the box home, wrapped it up, and put it under the tree, so to speak. Again, this is Volume 3, End of the Line, where Batman quits the team and leaves them behind. And whether or not they're going to remain as a group without him or not is basically the gist of those stories. I did give him a 4 out of 5, just through a cursory glance on the rating. Recommended for 13 and up. There are some semi-mature themes in it, involving different relationships between characters and stuff. Nothing too hinky or anything, but again, I think it's more for a teen than for a younger audience in that respect. But other than that, good stuff. I did my review on Volume 1 a while back. I don't remember exactly which episode, but it's pretty much the same sort of material. It's consistent throughout. So if you've read the first volume like I did, you're probably going to be satisfied with these as well. Our next one I got is called The Martian Monster and Other Stories, illustrated by Jack Kamen. The publisher is Fantagraphics Books. The writers were L. Feldstein, Gardner Fox. The artist is Jack Kamen. The genre is science fiction and fantasy, and it was released a little bit earlier this year. It's $29.99 cover price. Nice hardcover edition. Recommended for 13 and up. And here we are. This is the spine. Back cover. This is reprints of the classic EC materials from the 1950s, before the Comics Code Authority put EC out of business. Almost all these stories were published in either weird science or weird fantasy between 1950 and 1951. And there's probably, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, probably a good 20 stories in here. So, quite a bit of material in here. Let's see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's 22 stories, as well as a biography on Kamen, and biographies, and some introductions and historical essay panels in this book. So it's good stuff as far as that goes. Um, show you a little bit of Jack's art. Jack is probably one of the most underrated artists in comics history. We tend to forget how much stuff he actually contributed, particularly because he was an EC artist, and a lot of EC artists got overlooked. Once EC was closed, they didn't go into the superheroes necessarily. And if you didn't go into the superheroes, um, there's a good probability that you would be forgotten after all the horror and fantasy and science fiction comics went under. Let's see if I can. Jack was well known for doing attractive women, as you can see. And this is mostly a science fiction and science fiction fantasy horror type stories in this particular volume. I haven't had a chance to really read it yet, but just knowing um, what Kamen was about and the kind of stuff that was being produced at that time, um, I'm pretty confident that it's at least a 4 out of 5 stars, if not a 5 star volume. Uh, Again, it has to be something that, for me, if you like historical stuff, if you like the golden age of comics, this is what you're looking for, is this type of material. For younger readers, it might be a little bit quaint. I don't know. You got to, you know, you kind of have to measure your um, interest, I guess you could say. Um, Now, I have another volume of his as well, and I'm going to get that out real quick. And that is Zero Hour and Other Stories. It's actually $1 cheaper, $28.99. Same publisher, Fantagraphics Books. The writers include William Gaines, Al Feldstein, Jack Olek, and Ray Bradbury. It was released originally back in 2014. And again, this is another collection of classic stories by Jack Keenan. And again, another good quality production, good good thick hardcover. Certainly worth $30 you're paying for it. Wow, these stories were a little, even though this was produced as a collection 5 years earlier, 2014 as opposed to 2019, the actual stories in this volume are newer. Most of these stories were actually published in between 1954 and 55. And this is more science fiction stuff, but it's more, I guess you could say, um, science philosophical, maybe. Some of the quality work in here. Let's see. So I happen to, again, this is, it has a little bit of historical stuff on Jack's history. Um, and he wasn't just a comics creator. He did commercial art after he got out of comics after EC closed. And one of his sons actually invented the, oh heck, I can't remember the name of what it's called. It's that invention that like Oh heck, what's it called? Let me look it up real quick so I get it right. Uh, I want to get it right because it's actually quite interesting that his son did this. His son Dean, invented the Segway and the iBot mobility system, and he actually did the design work for the patent for the Segway. He actually drew that, so that was something I thought was very interesting when I did a little research on Jack's background a little bit there. So yeah, but yeah, again, both of those are $30 basically. And if you are an old school fan, if you are a comics history buff like me, or if you just want to look at some really nice clean artwork from a different what you want to call it, a bygone era or just a different era than what's modern right now, those are really good investments. Let's see what else we have in our fun book stuff. Oh my, yes, we have The Art of Plug, volumes 1 and 2. um, the publisher is FPG. There's various writers who do essays and reviews and stuff of artists. Mike Plug. It's a creator retrospective history of his career. Between the two books, there's over 700 pages of story and art exploring his career from comics, film, and fantasy art. And we're gonna take a quick grab here. Oh Jesus! What a heavy tome. And this is, yeah, I mean, this is so big it actually takes up my chest. They are $49, $50. Okay, really nice. Look at that. That is a hardcover edition. This is the volume 1. There's over 350 pages in this one. A lot of it is, as you can see, historical essays and photographs of Mike from his youth. And it gives you a little bit of historical perspective on him before he got into comics and when he first started doing comic strips and comic magazines for newspapers and stuff. And some of his earlier work. Um, I'm going to see what I can do to get you to his stuff you're a little more familiar with. For those of you who are potentially familiar with Mike from his Marvel work, you're probably familiar with his Marvel work when he did Werewolf by Night. Let's see if I can get this turned around here. These are some of the covers he did for Werewolf by Night. He's going to show a little bit of his interior work here. Sorry about the reflection from the light there. Didn't expect it there coming. Whoops. Wind's blowing. Oh, yeah. Fan's blowing it around. Go. This is stuff from the early 70s that he had done for Marvel. Get to look at some of that stuff. Here's another cover. This is a Marvel Spotlight #3 cover, and then a splash page story. Jerry Conway. And it continues on through a lot of his Werewolf by Night stuff. So a lot of the first page splashes and covers. Sorry, I had to move my mouse out of the way. I did the art for the Marvel Classic Figurine Edition. Black and white art versus the colored actual packaging design. That was probably what he was, one of the things he was most well known for in Marvel was his Werewolf by Night, but he also did Ghost Rider, and this is some of his Ghost Rider work. Again, this was the 70s. This right here was probably the first particular book that I saw of his, which was Marvel Spotlight number 6. And I think I saw this in 1986 or 87. I was 14 or 15. But it was, even then, this was a good 10-year-old comic, and it wasn't in the best of shape when I saw it, when I got it. I don't know if I still have it in my collection or not. But that was probably my first introduction to Plug at that time. Let's see if we can find some other stuff. It's not just his Marvel work here, which you might be interested in seeing real quick. I'll show you a little bit more color stuff here. He did some Frankenstein stuff from Marvel at the time. No, the pages want to stay. That's okay. He also did the Man Thing, which was sort of Marvel's version of Swamp Thing in a way. Only things burn at its touch if you know fear. So, some beautiful, his pencil work versus his watercolor work on the right. Here's what I was looking for. The early concept work when he worked with Ralph Boschke, the animator, for the for the film Wizards. Some of the early concept art he did for that animated feature film. Here's some of the conceptual design art as well. And if you're not familiar with Wizards as a classic Ralph Bakshi movie, you really should look into that. It's really a classic animated film for America. He also did the Lord of the Rings work with Bashki. He did the design work for Saruman, Pip and Merry, Sam, Gollum, quite a few other characters as well. Some of the 79 calendar images for Lord of the Rings for the animated series that animated film that Plug worked on for Ralph Bakshi. He also did storyboarding for Superman 2 and 3. And he also did conceptual art and storyboard art for the heavy metal movie from 1981, among other films. There's some more from heavy metal. He also worked on quite a few other films, like John Carpenter's The Thing, and other works as well. And that's all to be found here in the first volume. It covers through about the mid 80s, I guess you could say, of his career. Has some wonderful commentaries by those who worked with him, like John Carpenter and Jerry Conway and Ralph Bakshi and stuff. Now, the second volume, I'm not going to open. It's shrink wrapped in plastic, but it's actually a little bit thicker than the first volume, believe it or not. And this is the stuff that covers his career in role-playing games and in his famous art for Magic the Gathering is in here as well. So, and it goes into his later career as well. So, both of these books, total combined, were, I believe, like $90 or something like that. Yeah, 50 each. I didn't pay that much for them. I got a discount, but if you're a fan of any of these things, the Marvel monsters of the Bronze Age 70s, if you're a fan of Ralph Bakski's movies like Lord of the Rings or Wizards, if you're a fan of John Carpenter's The Thing, if you're a fan of Magic the Gathering, there's really a lot of stuff here just to get a perspective on this great artist that contributed to all those things and more. And definitely worth the time and money. Money I considered more than worth my time investing. Okay. Just trying to get everything in this box because it's a big box of stuff. Let's see what else we got for Christmas. Yes. We got the Star Slammers Complete Collection. Again, cover price $50.49. $9.99. IDW Publishing is the publisher. The writer artist is Walt Simonson. The lettering was by John Workman. The colorist is Leonard O'Grady. The genre is science fiction. This was released in 2015. It's a story of a race of men who could outshoot, outfight, and outkill anybody. This is what Walt himself describes it as. And they were paid fabulous sums of money to act as mercenaries. The practice became so lucrative they decided to go into business. Well, so I kind of said, well, their successes in businesses successes and failures rather as mercenaries and businessmen across the galaxy. And this isn't quite as big a book as the others, but it is a very nice sized edition. Whoop, this one. There you go. And the back. Now, this edition, I did not know this. I didn't open it until today. It happens to be a signed edition. So, thank you, Walt, for doing a signed edition. So that was kind of cool. I haven't had a chance to look at it. I pretty much bought this on, I guess you could say, historical awareness of its existence. I do have the original Star Slammers graphic novel somewhere in my collection, which is a little thin, like 48, 50 page Marvel graphic novel piece. That's collected in here along with every other Star Slammer stories there ever were, and even some previews of the stuff that he did from the 70s before it was actually a comic is in here as well. And I'm going to show you a little bit of the artwork. And get this thing open. As you know, I'm a big Walt Simonson fan. I have been doing reviews on his current work, Ragnarok. I'll find a good solid pages here. Everything wants to stay stuck together today. Let's see what we got here. Oh, this is interesting. Did some quite interesting layouts here. Let me show these. These are like multi-grid pages that are like a grid screen. That there's a lot of interesting looks that are going on. It's a space battle going on between different ships. That's a unique layout I don't recall ever seeing before. I was like, hey, that's kind of cool. And he does that again with the next page. That was a rather unique look there. Let's see what else we got. Not everything is in color in this one. There are a few things that are in black and white, like this. This might have been something they published over at Dark Horse that was never colored. I think they did. I think he did do a Star Slammer story that was in Dark Horse Presents. That was black and white. If I remember right, I could be wrong. But that's a really good layout. Good cityscape behind the silhouette of a couple kissing. Good layout design for that. And a little bit later in the story. And then it goes on to the next story back in color. But yeah, basically, I kind of liken it to Dirty Dozen and Starship Troopers in the one kind of in a mixed together in a and he's got this nice design flair that Walt Simonson does. If you're familiar with his Thor comics from Marvel or his Ragnarok book that I've shown in previous episodes of this podcast, uh, it's got a lot of the same kind of crazy flair for costume armor designs as you can see on the cover here. I showed you that little armor design thing that Rojo was in there just a little while back there. But it's it's cool stuff for me. I'm very pleased to have gotten this, uh, and that it was signed for the price I got it for. Because again, I didn't get it for cover price. I got it for much cheaper than that. I think I got it for like 20. So did very well on that, and I definitely give that a 4 out of 5. And last but not least, as far as the comics go, is the life and legend of Wallace Wood, or Wally Wood, as we tend to refer to him more in the comics industry. Volumes 1 and 2, they're both $39.99. Publishers Fantagraphic Books, edited by Bob Stewart, and yes, that is spelled correctly with a Bhob, and J. Michael Catron. It's written by various writers. Again, this is very much like the Plug books, retrospective piece, comics history, plenty of art by Wally Wood. Between the two books, over 500 pages of interviews, essays, and art spanning the life and career of Wood. These originally came out in 2017 for Volume 1 and 2018 for Volume 2. I'm trying to get them out like the Plug books. They're thinner than the Plug book a little bit. I think you can tell here. As you can kind of tell, the Plug book is a little bit thicker than the Wood book, but the layout's just a little bit wider on the Wood book. Let me put this Plug monster away back in its box there. Oh, those are coffee table books, to say the least. Again, this is Legend of Life and Legend of Wally Wood, Volume 1. I got this because so many people, are always talking about how I don't have respect for the Golden Agers, the Silver Agers, and it's like, yeah, I do. I don't talk enough about them, I guess. But so I figured, it'd be a good thing to get these and read up a little bit more about them and stuff like that, and I'll share my thoughts on these books a little more next year during 2020 after I've had a good chance to really read these. But Wood is definitely one of the greatest comics artists who ever lived. And there's a cover from Incredible Science Fiction, another EC comic. EC was really one of the best publishers we ever had. Um, it's a shame that EC was put out of business by the Comics Code Authority, and that's a discussion for another show. But I'm going to go through all the articles and get to the so-called visually good stuff. To me, the reading is fascinating, but I know that for the purposes of some of the things here, I mean, I'll start with this, I guess. Here's some romance comics like on the left here. I Was Unwanted, My Secret Shame. Those were romance comics he did in the 50s, and then he did some science fiction stuff like Captain Science. Um, and that stuff was for this is like 1950, 1951. Um, Sorry, I've taken my glasses off to read some of this typing. Um, but this is the Fox comics this was for Fox comics back in 50, 51. Again, you know, Secret Romance, Secret Shame, Captain Science. You see a nice layout design, and then the final cover he did, Captain Science there. Yeah, my glasses work for distance this way to see you guys on the screen. I have to wear the glasses then, but for reading, I don't wear them. So it's a little bit odd. I know when you see me take my glasses off to read, but that's what's going on with that. And then there's some more Captain Science they did for Fox. He also did work for Avon Comics, uh, Famous Gangsters, and Space Detective, and other titles. The top thing that you see Don Dillinger is one of the cover pieces, part of the cover to the Famous Mobsters. That was his art there. See if I can bring that up close to you. And then this is his Space Detective and the Opium Smugglers of Venus. Which, opium back in 50, 51 was a big deal. If it's not a big deal today as well. But, he did a lot of crazy stuff. Came over working for EC in 52. Working on weird science and weird fantasy. And this is some of the stuff he did there. Again, another guy who can just draw really well done faces and designs for women, designs for children. Just a really good artist. Let me see if I can find it in here real quick. Um, he did a lot of comic strip stuff for different people. Um, did like comic strips of for Believe It or Not, Ripley's Believe It or Not. And they called it Strangely Believe It. These were somewhat parodies of things that were going on. There was Ripley's Believe It or Not. He did Super Duper Man. He did Bat Boy and Robin. um, Go Gossam, which was a rip on Walt Kelly. Pogo. And just really a genius at being able to emulate other people's art styles as well as doing his own stuff. I did mention Super Duper Man. Here's Super Duper Man. He didn't just do comic book stuff, though. He did book and other illustration work. As you can see here, these are more pencil charcoal illustration than the pen and ink work. This particular stuff that I'm showing you is illustrations for Galaxy magazines, for science fiction magazines. Um, Here's some more of the stuff he did for Galaxy and as well as another science fiction. Get a little closer here if I can. As you can see, it's a completely different style that is compared to those other comics' work, but yet still just exquisite detail. That's why he was and is considered one of the masters. He did oil paintings as well for covers for Galaxy. So that's volume one. And volume two is pretty much the same thing, a little bit more recent work. The main thing that surprised me, now I don't know if I can find it, I'm trying to find it, it's in one of these two volumes. There was something that I'd seen as a kid, and I'm going to see if I can find it. I may have to look it up elsewhere online, because there's just so many pages here to try and find it in one of the two books, even though I know it's in there. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Is that he did a cover, and this is the first thing I remember of his artwork. If I can get it to show. Ah, that's not good art. It's not a good image of the art, I should say. Um, let's see if I can. I can't get the good angle I want for it, unfortunately. That's not a surprise, unfortunately. Maybe this will be a good one. There we go. Well, there we go. Now I can share it. Sorry about that, folks. I'll get it to you in just a second. Um, there. All right. There we go. This is like the first thing I saw that I can remember that was Wally Wood artwork. And this is like, I got this is a record cover to a record they did that was telling of the um, story Journey to the Center of the Earth. And I just, I remember seeing this and just being gobsmacked by the art on that. And I think I was maybe 4 or 5 at the time when I saw this. So, I've always been a fan of Wally Wood. For those who were wondering when I got into Wally Wood, or if I was really ever into him, or just something that I discovered recently or something. No, I've been a fan of Wally's for a long time. So, yeah, and that's somewhere in those books as well, but I just haven't found them. And that is all of the books I got as far as the Christmas stuff goes. But I got a lot of more fun stuff to show you. Just give me a moment. We got a lot of videos. We got Star Trek Discovery Season 2. I've only seen Season 1, and it's been probably a year since I've seen those because I got Season 1 for Christmas last year. I'm going to have to watch Season 1 and Season 2 back to back just so I can get caught up and remember everything. I know a lot of people who have trashed Star Trek Discovery um, because the Klingons aren't the Klingons, and this is wrong and that's wrong. And I just kind of think about it, and did people when Star Trek and the Next Generation or the Star Trek had the Klingons that got the foreheads with the ridges and stuff like that first started coming out, that wasn't in the original series that I remember. The original series, they just had dark skin and they were still flat. They didn't have ridges on their foreheads. So I keep imagining if the fans of the original series complained about the next gen version, this isn't real Trek, or they didn't have the right kind of phasers, or they didn't have the right kind of whatever uniform or whatever. Yeah, is it really that worthy of complaining about? I don't know. I happen to like season 1 okay, enough that I'm willing to try season 2, and I'll let you guys know when I think of it in a future issue, or future edition rather, of Quoth the Raven. Also got Lost in Space, the complete first season. I have no idea what to expect of this. My dad got it for me. He's just trying to find me something. He really doesn't know anything about these sort of things, and he's just trying. Um, I have no idea what to think of it. I guess this was on Netflix originally. I don't know for sure. But again, I'll let you know what I think of it in the future. Um, he got me a bunch of DC stuff. Now, we don't need to worry about Wonder Woman. We all know what Wonder Woman is. We all know what Aquaman is. And we all know what Justice League is. He got these for like a buck each. So, whatever. He didn't even realize that these were the same movies that you see on TNT almost on a daily or weekly basis. He thought they were new things. So he was a little bit disappointed when I told him that these were the ones that he sees on TNT. He was like, "Oh, all right, I'm sorry." I'm like, "No, no, it's fine. You're trying. What do you want? He's not a geek. He doesn't know these things." Um, got Titans season 1 complete for a season. Have watched this. Watched it yesterday and this morning, and I'm gonna hold off on discussing it until I watch the next set of stuff, and that is Doom Patrol season 1. And that's partly because Doom Patrol makes their first appearance in Titans, and partly because I want to see how they're doing Cyborg in Doom Patrol. Since, as far as I'm concerned, Cyborg belongs in Titans. That's just my opinion. But I'll wait and see how they do it and how they're going to make that work. But I can honestly say, um, yeah, it's going to be interesting. I will say my favorite character in Titans is Donna Troy, and I'm not going to be too pleased with second season since I already know that, spoiler alert, Donna Troy gets killed at the end of season 2. Spoiler alert. But we'll see. And I also got the animated series movie, which is Wonder Woman Bloodlines, which I haven't watched yet. Lots of DC stuff. From Marvel, my father got me the last 2 Spider-Man movies. Um, the animated Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, which I have not watched. As you can see, they're kind of shiny because they still have the plastic on them. And Far From Home. And I'll let you know what I think of those when it's time. Um, he got me Glass, which is the last one of the 3 trilogy by M. Night Shyamalan. After Unbreakable, which is the guy in the bottom there, the security guard guy, David something or other. Um, and oh heck, um, Split, which is the middle guy, which is the one who had the split personalities, and they all have different abilities and powers. I did see this movie in the theater. Um, Enjoyed it for what it was. It was different. Um, in a lot of ways, I think M. Night Shyamalan did um, a very nice thing with the superhero genre. I think he did it really well in terms of what he was trying to do with the tropes. And he was at least something unique comparative to so much of the other stuff that we see in the genre presented, especially the stuff that's mainstream Marvel DC stuff. So I was very pleased with that movie when it came out. I think we all know Alien. He got me the whole quadrology, which is the first 4 films. Most of you who are watching this program are probably familiar with the Alien movies. If you aren't, the best thing I can do is recommend start with Alien 1979 by Scott Ridley and or Ridley Scott rather, not Scott Ridley. I don't know why I did that, but it's you know arguably one of the best science fiction horror uh, mixture genres in history. Classic stuff, classic stuff. So got that. Uh, he got me Ready Player One, which I saw with my friend John Norris. I think it was John I saw it with at the movie theater. I liked it in the theater. I actually liked the movie better than I liked the book. Not sure why. The book itself just didn't hold my interest when I tried to read it, which I tried to read before I saw the movie. So I'm not really sure why it didn't appeal to me, but it didn't as a novel. Um, oops, I'll pick that up real quick. Um, Fantastic Beasts: Crimes of Grindelwald, still in the wrapper. This is the latest film from the J.K. Rowling Potterverse. Um, I'm just more or less curious as to see where it goes. The Fantastic Beasts first film with Newt Scamander was okay. Um, it wasn't, you know, it was an enjoyable film for what it was. And I'm pretty sure this will be too. I don't think anybody's going to be so overly chewing the drapery that even though Johnny Depp, that's all he does. um, it should be a decent enough film that I'll be interested to see how it comes out. I got Keanu Reeves Replicas, which is a science fiction thriller. Um, and I will look forward to seeing what that is as well. Uh oh. Give me just a second, folks. My kitty wants to get his paws and mouth on something if he doesn't need to get his mouth and paws on. There we go. Yes, he's a little bit obnoxious at times. But anyway, that is nearly all the videos I got. I also got, well, turn this silly thing off here real quick. There we go. I got Voltron, Defender of the Universe. This is 124 episodes of both the Lion and the Vehicle Force, which is why I got it, because I've never seen the Vehicle Force storyline in its entirety. I've only seen a scant few episodes. I knew it existed, but I only got to see the like maybe 5 or 6 episodes in my life, and that's like I want to see what that storyline is, So I got it, and I'm looking forward to seeing what that's going to be like. And I'm probably going to enjoy watching the Lion Force stuff again because the Lion Force was enjoyable enough for what it was back in the day. This was originally stuff that came out by Toei stuff. I believe it came out originally in '85. Doesn't say on the box, but I believe that the original stuff came out in '85, and that'll be pretty cool to see these many years later how well the Lion story holds up, and if I like the vehicle story. So that covers all my goodies for DVDs. So I got a pretty good stack of stuff for Christmas. Only got one person watching, so I don't know how many of you out there want to come online and tell me what you got. I'd love to hear it, actually. But I got just a few more items that I got. I got some music CDs. I got Gordon Lightfoot's Complete Greatest Hits. For those of you who don't know who Gordon Lightfoot is, he's a Canadian songwriter, performer who's been around since the 60s. He wrote Early Morning Rain, um, If You Could Read My Mind, Cotton Jenny, probably best known for Sundown and The Wreck of Edmund Fitzgerald. But, just amazing talent. And he's the only one I've listened to right now so far. The other two CDs I got were two Casey Musgrave CDs. Um, One was same trailer, different park. Um, Mainly, well, I've been looking to get Casey Musgrave stuff for years, and I actually had to special order this because of this. It's like nobody carries it. I don't know why. Um, I guess it's just because CD albums just aren't carried by stores that much anymore. Um, when I go to, I mean, there's so many record stores that are just going out of business to begin with. There's only like two in my whole area now. Scratch and Spin, which is where I go to get my comics as well. And I think there's another one called Papa Jazz here in Columbia. But all the other ones are closed. And if you go to Walmart or you go to um, Kmart or Target or really, you go to the PX at the base, nobody carries squat. I just don't understand it. I mean, I realize people like to do the download thing, I guess, but it just seems like it really um, has changed um, how people consume music. I guess I don't know with downloadable. I don't know, but all I know is I've had trouble getting albums and CDs for a while now. I just want to get that sticker off this thing. It's annoying, especially when they're enwrapped. Unfortunately, this is also kind of got a broken case, but oh well. The other one is Golden Hour. Casey, as you can see, the thing got cracked on this side right there. Uh, but yeah, sorry about the reflection off the screen for the plastic. But yeah, this actually won the Grammy for Best Album last year or this year. So I'm looking forward to listening to that. And I've always, like I said, been a big fan of Casey's for a while. Um, just hadn't been able to get her stuff. But if you're not familiar with her work, best thing you do is look up songs like My House, Merry Go Round, Follow Your Arrow. Uh, those are the ones I would recommend off of same trailer, different park. Um, Maybe Blowing Smoke as well. But off of Golden Hour, I would have to say Slow Burn and let's see, Space Cowboy and Rainbow would probably be the three that I'd recommend. Uh, Maybe High Horse, maybe Wonder Woman on there as well. But I will give a listen to these a little bit later. I've been, like I said, I'm busy with all this stuff. Um, with all this great stuff I got, unfortunately, there were a few things I didn't get that I would have liked to have had. And that was my father's van's got some problems with it, and we took it to the dealer, and it didn't get fixed yet. So even though they promised, they never even really looked at it to get it fixed. Had to get the vehicle back so we could use it. um, so hopefully we'll get that resolved soon. And the other thing is, there's a few people out there who I meant to give presents to that I didn't get to see before the holiday, and hopefully I'll get to see you soon, and I'll get to get you your stuff to you. But you know, that is part of the thing with Christmas, ladies and gentlemen. It's a lot of cool swag out there, and I'm sure that there's a lot of you out there who got some really cool stuff too, and I hope to see some of it or hear about some of it from all of you. But in a lot of ways, it's just a distraction. Shopping is a distraction, getting and receiving the gifts is a distraction. And I'll explain a little bit why in our closing. So watch our closing segment and make sure you read this week's advice. and you'll understand why I said that. Mm-hmm. Um, I think that it is in turn time to call it an evening. It's been about an hour, 20 minutes in, and I'd like to get some of this stuff read, some of this stuff watched, so I can start planning for next year's reviews. All the stuff you saw, um, most of it you're going to hear about reviews in 2020. So, I'll show it again in more thorough detail and depth and discussion next year on a lot of this stuff. And we'll also talk about some other things as well. So, and we'll also talk about other items. Oh, there was one more thing I got. I just remembered now that I looked down at my mouse. Um, I got a replacement mouse pad because this is the mouse pad that's replacing it. I think you can pretty much tell it's worked. It's pretty much shot, dilapidated. Had to go. Um, so I got a new one. I think that's nice. So sometimes a gift is more about the practicality and need rather than the coolness of it, I guess you could say. So I got that as well. But I think that's pretty much everything that anybody who might be watching might be of any knowledge or caring of seeing. Um, so I will talk to you guys probably early next week, probably before next Wednesday. Next Wednesday will be our, let's see, next Wednesday will be, um, next Thursday will be our first show of 2020. And we'll do, I don't know if I've got another show coming or not. Let me check my calendar real quick. I will be right back. Okay. Sorry about that. It looks like I was scheduled to do another show this Saturday for the year end show. I don't know if I'll be able to do that or not, but if I can't, I'll do it on Monday. Okay. So either the 28th or the 30th, we'll do our year end show. And if I happen to see the show on Sunday for Rise of Skywalker, we'll talk about that then as well. But until then, I wish you all safe and festive holiday. And I hope you got everything you wanted, or at least most of everything you wanted for your Christmas holiday, or your Hanukkah, or your winter solstice, whichever it is that you happen to celebrate. But until then, hold on a second. My silly machine is messing up. There we go.